You know, training for a race is one of those things that sounds simple until you actually decide to do it. From the outside, it looks like, okay, you just run. But once you start preparing, you realize this is about so much more than running. When you stand at the starting line of a race, you're not just starting a run, you're standing in front of weeks or months of dedication and commitment. There'll be self doubt. You'll have to be disciplined. You'll endure sore muscles, early mornings, and you'll have to skip excuses. And that takes a whole lot of inner growth. And that's the part I want to talk about today, the journey you go through before you ever take that first official step. Because race training isn't just physical, the mental part is the hardest. The greatest runners in the world know this. Usain Bolt put it perfectly when he said, I don't think limits. That's a mindset. That's something that you have to practice. And just like him, you have to decide that you're going into this without limiting yourself. So let's break this down. Not like a checklist, but like the process you're really going to go through. So, first, you need to know your why. Before any planning, before any running, before any new shoes, you have to understand why you want to do this. Because the day is going to come when your body will be tired, your mind will be exhausted, and you're going to start asking yourself, what the heck am I doing? You need an answer that is strong enough to pull you through those moments. Shakari Richardson once said, my journey, my story is deeper than a race. Your why has to be deeper too. Maybe you're proving something to yourself. Maybe you're rebuilding your confidence. Maybe it's a bucket list item. Whatever it is, you have to own it and you have to stay committed. Number two, make yourself a plan. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but you have to be consistent and you got to be dedicated. Creating a plan looks like a day to day routine that changes you and that keeps you accountable. Noah Lyles talks a lot about the years of unseen work that go into success. And this is true for anything, right? In order to get the results that you want, you have to put in the work. You're going to give yourself structure. You're going to have a few easy runs, you're going to have a long run, and you're going to have a day of speed work. You're going to make this training so realistic, it is going to mimic what you're going to do on race day. When creating your plan, be realistic in the way that you structure it. You don't want to make a plan for something that is completely outside of your normal behavior or even what you know that you're capable of, right? You are doing this race and this is something that you are trying to accomplish, and so you want to plan accordingly, but you don't want to be very far-fetched or unrealistic in the way that you're planning. You want to plan in a way that can actually fit for your life, if that makes sense. And remember, the goal is persistence, not perfection. We're looking to create a habit. Number three, strength training. Strength training matters more than people think. So some people skip this because they think running is enough, but the strongest runners like Wilma Rudolph, who overcame incredibly tough odds to become an Olympic legend, they train their whole bodies. So you need to strength train. You need to stay healthy to run efficiently and to feel powerful. So a couple of days a week, you're going to work on your legs, your core, your glutes. This is going to change everything for you. Strength training is also going to help with preventing injury. So I cannot say this enough. Make sure that you are strength training. Number four, you have to feed your body. Nutrition during a race is important. This is something that Jesse Owens understood so well. He always talked about the importance of treating your body like an instrument. If you don't fuel that instrument, it's not going to perform. So you have to eat enough and you have to eat well. Make sure you're hydrating, and then find the foods that are going to keep you energized, because training for this race is going to take a lot out of you, right? So you want to have high energy. Training is going to be so much more difficult if your body is not fueled properly. So think of food as part of the training, not as an afterthought. Number five, listen to your body. This is one of the biggest differences between training smart and training sloppy. So Noah Lyles talks openly about respecting the body's limits. So you want to pay attention to your body. You want to know if something is bothering you, if something is hurting you, pay attention to that. Maybe you need to rest. Maybe you're not fueling yourself properly. You're not giving yourself enough protein to actually allow your muscles to recover, right? So you want to make sure, again, resting, having rest days in between your training. It is important to listen to your body, because your body, your mental is going to get you through it, but your body is the tool that is going to propel you to go forward in this race. So you have to listen to what your body is saying. If your body is saying that you're training too hard, it's not enough, then you need to stop. Or if you're feeling any type of pain, make sure you're addressing that before you continue to train, so that you're not injuring yourself to the point where you're not even able to start the race, let alone finish it. Respect your body's limits. If something hurts in the wrong way, pay attention. If you're feeling exhausted, you need to rest. Race training is not a punishment. We are preparing to meet our goal. We do not want to harm ourselves. So treat your body like your partner and not your enemy. Number 6, start visualizing the race. It sounds a little crazy until you try it, but the greatest athletes in the world use visualization, and it actually works. Wilma Rudolph said, if you can dream it, you can do it. So you want to picture the race in your mind, how you'll start, how you'll handle those tough moments where you'll completely want to give up, and how you're going to finish. When you mentally rehearse your success, your body starts to believe it. So, visualization. See yourself on race day. See what you're wearing. Start with the beginning of your routine. Start from the morning. What you're going to eat. What you're going to wear. The sneakers you're wearing. The stretches that you're going to do. You want to make sure you visualize it all, so that when you get to that day, it's just second nature by that point. And number 7, when race day comes, make it easy, make it seamless, make it smooth. Race day is not the time to test out new shoes, or you don't want to eat something new. You're going to keep it simple, right? You're going to stick with your routine. You're going to wear what you've already trained in. You're going to feed your body the same way. Make sure that you arrive early to the race. You want to make sure that you're breathing. Make sure that you get all the nerves out, and take space. Take time to really sit with what you're about to accomplish, what you're about to complete. Because this is something really, it's a huge goal that you've set for yourself. And so you need to really take in the moment and be present in that moment. Sha'Carri Richardson always talks about being centered, being mentally grounded, mentally prepared before she steps out there. And that's what you want to do. You want to mentally prepare yourself, and you want to give yourself calm. You don't want to start your morning in chaos. And finally, number 8, you want to celebrate the finish line. So when you cross that line, no matter how fast, how slow, what place you're in, you've done something powerful. Jesse Owens said, we all have dreams, but to make dreams into reality takes an awful lot of determination. And that's exactly what you have shown. You've put in the work, you put in the training, you made yourself mentally centered, and now you have accomplished your goal. And this is something to be proud of. You want to relish in this moment. You want to really live in this moment, because you took the time, you did the training, you honored your why, and you followed your plan. You grew physically, mentally, emotionally. Take that moment in. Let it mean something, because finishing a race isn't just finishing a race. It's finishing a promise to yourself. So be proud. Now let's talk about the things that can go wrong, okay? And how we can avoid those things. So overtraining. We don't want to overtrain. You don't want to burn yourself out, right? You're training so that you can be successful in your race, and so that you build your routine and you know what works for your body. But you need to rest if you have to. If your body is telling you that you're doing too much, you need to stop and rest, right? So we don't want to overtrain. Overtraining can cause injuries. Stay away from that. We want to make sure we are fueling ourselves properly, right? You have to fuel yourself properly for your run. You don't want to experiment and start trying out new things on race day, make sure that you are doing what you need to do to make sure you're eating the vegetables and the protein so that you are making sure that your muscles are recovering correctly. Again, we want to avoid injury. And so fueling our bodies properly will not only help with that, but it also will help us to stay energized throughout the race and keep our momentum going, right? So you want to make sure that you're fueling your body correctly. Wearing the wrong gear. Again, on race day, you want to wear the same gear. It doesn't have to be the exact same gear, right? It doesn't have to be the exact same thing, because I know on race day we want to look nice. We want to have the matching outfits and the cute sneakers and things like that. But you want to wear whatever you were wearing while you were training is what you want to wear on race day. You want to make sure that your shoes are comfortable. Make sure these are shoes that you have run in before, right? You don't want to be running in shoes for the very first time on race day. Clothing that you're wearing, make sure you're wearing something comfortable. And I would suggest, depending on where you are, maybe wear layers, right? So that you can remove things as you're running to make yourself more comfortable. Pace yourself. Don't start too fast. If you start too fast, it is a possibility that you are going to crash before you reach the finish line. You want to make sure that you're pacing yourself. You don't want to go too fast. Don't go too slow either, but you want to keep a nice steady pace. And again, this is where your training comes in, right? Because you have already practiced all of this. So on race day, this should be a breeze. You've already practiced it so many times that it's just a flow at this point. It just comes as second nature because you've made it a habit. You're going to get to a point where your body is going to want you to stop, and you're going to have mental burnout. And this is why it is so important to start with a why. When you decide to run a race, you want to make sure that your why is strong enough to carry you through that finish line, because your body is definitely going to want to stop. It's going to want to stop. And you got to find a way to carry yourself through. So your why has to be strong enough to take you there. So we can avoid most of these issues by just listening to our bodies and respecting the process. Training for a race will change you, but not because of the miles. You'll change because of the commitment, the discipline, and the belief you built along the way. Remember what Usain Bolt said, "I don't think limits," and neither should you. Once you decide to believe in yourself, the finish line becomes possible and the race becomes achievable. And you prove first to yourself and then to the world that you can do hard things. Your journey doesn't start on race day. It starts the moment you say, "I'm going to do this," and you absolutely can.